What's up guys, this is Scher talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to talk about Shuzer. Well, we got his newest style that was considered just for farming, but is it really true? I'll be answering this question during this video, and that's right. I don't like clickbaits, he's just for farming, but his farming potential is really strong, and I think I need to discuss because we have improved his grade in the tier list. Well, I think most people chooses the Remembrance Gun as the first weapon to craft, because this is just useful for Leon, and now can use it for Shuzer as well, as a farming weapon. Well, Shuzer has this attack called Orbital Claw Bit, that uses 9 BP, recovers 2, but takes recoil damage of 90%. But it deals slash and pierce damage. The good thing about this, that I said on the review, is that many enemies will have at least one physical weakness. Covering 2 types will allow you to use this character in many different scenarios. So, Shuzer also has this Furious Assault passive that gives him an attack boost of extreme effect that lasts for 2 turns. But in farming scenarios, you only gonna take advantage of 1 stack of this because you are changing between waves. Then you get 40% from fired up 7. So, 90% damage increase. Doesn't look like that much, right? Well, it surely doesn't, but there's something in this game that is, weapon types have different damage calculations, and guns take lots of benefit from having high weapon power. That is super high on the Remembrance weapon. So, Shuzer is now very strong. In this new event, we have called Mu Culture Fast Afternoon, this one that has 4 rounds. He's one of the few characters that is capable of soloing. From my understand, we can solo with Arthur, we can solo with Galahad, we can solo with the newest Red, and then we can solo now with Shuzer as well. I have to explain how to do that. You need a formation that increases dexterity by 50%. Well, my Shuzer is overcapped. I trained him for 4 more points than the current caps because I was using booster packs. So you should stop at around 237 right now, but I have a little more. So there is this formation that will increase gun damage as well, that you can try to use if you are missing out a little, call it Bullet Shift. But here I was just using Wave Array, it can also be Magia Fight, doesn't matter. So there's one interesting fact about using these formations. He is still capable of using Orbital Claw Bit 2 times in a row and then start using Inspiring Hit. Inspiring Hit is fast, Orbital Claw Bit it's not, but Shuzer has very high agility, as you can see from his style mods having at least 101%. So let's run Shuzer in this formation and see how much damage he can actually achieve. The first attack will do plenty of damage, but we need to check the damage on the second enemy that has higher HP. See, 150, 166,000. Okay, this is an 8 power attack. Now versus the dragon, we have to do lots of damage because it's the enemy with the highest HP. Well, 164,000. It seems like this dragon has 155,000 or something close to that. Now you cannot use that attack anymore. You will use Inspiring Hit. That still does plenty of damage. Look, 140,000 versus these enemies. And it will be the same versus the last enemy. That's a little weaker to pierce, so it is still enough to kill it with a single hit. 158,000. That's insane. Okay, so now I brought Gun Coppelia with the inheritance of Ultra Earthshaker and equipped her like a martial artist, but using the Remembrance Gun. I want to showcase the damage of 2 strong characters, Coppelia and Human Female, that have perfect rotations and we use them for farming all the time. Okay, Ultra Earthshaker has 8 power, but it doesn't land too much damage because Coppelia lacks as much damage passives. But let's see how much we get from wave number 3. Around 126,000 only, that's way less than 140 we're getting with Shuzer. Now I'm bringing Human Female because she has access to Mach Drift Plus, and this style gets lots of BP, she can use this many times in a row. Let's see how much damage she lands on these enemies. Well, 140,000, exactly the same amount of damage Shuzer did with his C power attack. With this test, we just found out that Shuzer is a really strong farmer. For blunt damage, he is just comparable to Mac Drift from Human Female when using Inspiring Hit, a C power attack. And he beats Coppelia Ultra Earthshaker out of the water. Well, you can still use Shuzer in different rotations. For example, the enemies in this event were weak to both Blunt and Pierce, but that's not exactly something that happens all the time. If you just want blunt damage, keep using Inspiring Hit. You'll be doing at least 140,000 damage against weak enemies. Against the plant we were doing 158. So, 3 times Inspiring Hit will solo farm story stages at least. May solo farm some events, but that won't be so common. For events, we usually have only 2 waves, and then Shuzer is going to solo with the usage of Orbital Cloud Bit that he can use 2 times in a row. But you can take even more advantage of Shuzer. Well, you can just change the formation and switch to Dragon Stance X. This formation does not boost dexterity. That's the bad part, so he is going to do way less damage. But the BP that you get by the end of turn actually allows him to use skill number 3, Orbital Cloud Bit, 3 times in a row. So, Inspiring Hit will be used versus enemies weak to Blunt, and Orbital Cloud Bit will be used versus enemies weak to Slash and Pierce, but just for story, because you need 3 attacks in story. In events, just 2. And now I'm just running him here with the Orbital Cloud Bit attack, but losing the dexterity buff. It is still stronger than Gun Coppelia. It's comparable to the damage we got with Human Female. Mac Drift, exactly the same damage as Mac Drift, but because he lost his dexterity buff, means that he's not on full potential anymore. But it allows him to use this skill 3 times. You'll be using it for different enemies. Now let's check the damage versus the third wave. Still 137, very close to the damage of Mac Drift Human Female. So that's why I needed to test Shuzer, because I received reports during my live stream that Shuzer was doing too much damage. And, well, I was impressed. He is now one of the best farmers in the game. And I needed to change his grade to SS+. Well, he's still a limited style. He does not work for boss. Not as intended, because when you look on his passives that can stack, you can stack Furious Assault 5 between 2 turns for 100% damage increase. But this still does not matter much, because his first style is much better. And with his first style, what you're going to do is to inherit that 0 BP skill that you can find in his newest Dual Cloud Bit, so that you don't need to use normal attacks. You will keep the Slash and Pierce cycle. Forget about blunt damage with this Shuzer. And then I ran Shuzer normal style and his newest style versus Egg to try to see if rushing damage with a very particular squad was going to make any difference. And the squad I'm bringing was totally focused on increasing the damage potential. I have So-cho, newest style, to give VP to the party with his Let Me Handle It. Then we have Witch's Daughter, she's gonna buff the party many times, especially because So-cho is helping. And also Festival Food will give BP. Newest Shuzer has a better opening cycle because of higher amounts of BP gains. But after some time it's just the same, and he will just lose damage potential after turn 6. We also have Matriarch with her Piano of Peace buff to buff dexterity for everyone. And Gustave to give Scrum Guard, Let's Paint for both morale up and attack boost. And Shuzer is here in the back row. So I'll be showing the normal build of Shuzer first, and then newest Shuzer build that just takes more damage, does not self-heal, and just did a little more damage than old Shuzer. So here is the run, and we are fighting versus the Egg, and we will be using Collaborative Ejection as soon as possible. We will not have enough for using it on the turn 2, even through I will give Festival Food to Shuzer. And from turn 2, I will use my BP generation with So-cho, and then after that I can use Collaborative Ejection with both versions all turns. I'm also using Let's Paint with Gustav and Peon of Peace with Matriarch. I'll be skipping to the last turn where we will be doing damage with Shuzer. So let's see how much we get from Overdrive. I left So-cho out of the calculation because in my run he didn't have enough BP to use anything that would matter, so he was just left out of the Overdrive damage. Let's see how much Shuzer will do. In this turn number 6, he only has 1 stack of attack boost though. It'd be perfect to use on turn 5, but well, it's still okay to do this. Let's see how much damage we get from each hit of Cloud Ejection. Remember that this version of Shuzer self-buffs all status when attacking. 350, right? And 178 from the chase attacks. That's really good. And in the end, we just got left in the sun icon from the HP gauge from Egg. Now, I will show you the other run where we are using the newest version of Shuzer. Same setup, doing the same things. This Shuzer will be able to use Cloud Ejections in all turns because he has better BP generation on start. He does not get BP when he attacks. So he starts better, ends up worse. So let's move to Overdrive turn as well, so that we can check how much damage we get. Well, we are close to that point. Here is the Overdrive turn. As you can see, we will do a little extra damage. We are already very close to the sun icon on the top. But I didn't think it mattered. If I had a little more BP, Shuzer will never skip 1 Cloud Ejection. It will just eventually deal the same amount of damage. So if you have someone in your party that gives 1 BP, that's already equal. So why would you just trade the defense capabilities of old Shuzer for a very little difference in damage? Not much reason to. So let's see how much damage we get on turn 6 from this Shuzer. Right now it's time. What? Almost the same amount of damage. Like I said, turn 6 he only has 1 attack boost available. He has 2 attack boosts on turn 5, but in the end you will not be able to choose exactly when you can use Overdrive. It's more about situations and everything else. So I really think that you should not care too much about using new Shuzer since you are trading too much. You are losing that chance to heal, losing all status buffs, and losing the defense up that is super important to allow Shuzer to compete with the best damage dealers in the game. So, well, in the end, we finally understand that new Shuzer is just made for farming, but he is much better than we initially thought. But that's my opinion. What is yours? Please see here on the comment section. I hope this video can clear your doubts about this character, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.